Imagine this. You've been there for someone every single time they needed you. You've given your time, your energy, your support. But the moment you need them, silence. They take you for granted, like you're just always going to be there, no matter what. Sound familiar? What if I told you there's a way to teach them the cost of taking you for granted without losing yourself in the process? Stick around, because today we're diving deep into Stoicism and how it can help you reclaim your power. Let's get one thing straight. Being taken for granted doesn't just hurt, it can mess with your head. You start questioning your worth, your value, even your purpose. But here's the thing. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy practiced by some of the most resilient minds in history, has answers. It's not about revenge or playing games. It's about understanding your worth, setting boundaries, and letting your actions speak louder than words. Today, we're going to explore how Stoic principles can help you teach others the cost of taking you for granted while staying true to yourself. Ready? Let's dive in. All right, let's talk about the problem. Being taken for granted is one of those things that sneaks up on you. At first, it might feel good to be needed. You're the reliable one, the go-to person, the rock. But over time, it starts to feel empty. You realize you're giving so much of yourself, but getting nothing in return. No appreciation, no effort, no respect. And the worst part, the more you give, the more they expect. It's like you've become a resource, not a person. This isn't just about relationships. It happens at work, with friends, even with family. You're the one who always covers the shifts, listens to the problems, or picks up the slack. And when you finally speak up, you're met with excuses, defensiveness, or worse, silence. It's exhausting, right? But here's the kicker. The problem isn't just them. It's also us. We let it happen. We keep giving, hoping they'll notice, hoping they'll change. But Stoicism teaches us that we can't control others. We can only control ourselves. So how do we break this cycle? How do we teach them the cost of taking us for granted without losing ourselves in the process? That's what we're here to figure out. Let's start with the Stoic concept of dichotomy of control. This is the idea that some things are within our control and some things aren't. Our thoughts, our actions, our boundaries, those are within our control. Other people's actions, their opinions, their choices, those aren't. When we try to control what's outside our control, we set ourselves up for frustration and disappointment. So the first step is to stop expecting them to change. I know, easier said than done, right? But think about it. If you keep giving and giving, hoping they'll finally see your worth, you're handing over your power. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our own behavior. Here's how you can start. 1. Set boundaries. Boundaries aren't about punishing others. They're about protecting yourself. If you're always available, always saying yes, you're teaching people that your time and energy have no value. Start saying no, not in a mean way, but in a way that shows you respect yourself. For example, if a friend always cancels plans last minute, stop rearranging your schedule for them. Let them feel the impact of their actions. 2. Stop over-explaining. When we feel taken for granted, we often try to explain ourselves to get the other person to understand. But here's the thing. If they wanted to understand, they would. Instead of explaining, let your actions speak for you. If someone isn't treating you well, step back. Don't argue, don't beg, just create distance. 3. Focus on your own growth. One of the most powerful Stoic teachings is that our worth doesn't come from others. It comes from within. Instead of pouring all your energy into people who don't appreciate it, pour it into yourself. Learn a new skill, take up a hobby, invest in your own growth. When you become the best version of yourself, you naturally attract people who value you. Practice detachment. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you stop letting others' actions dictate your happiness. If someone takes you for granted, it's a reflection of them, not you. Detach from the need for their approval or recognition. Your worth isn't up for debate. Now let's talk about a real-life example. Imagine you have a co-worker who always dumps their work on you. You've covered for them countless times, but when you need help, they're nowhere to be found. Instead of getting angry or resentful, you calmly set a boundary. The next time they ask for help, you say, "I'm swamped with my own work right now. Maybe you can ask someone else." At first they might push back. They might even get upset. But here's the thing. By setting that boundary, you're teaching them that your time and energy have value. And if they don't respect that, it's not your problem. You've done your part. This is where Stoicism really shines. It's not about changing others. It's about changing how you respond to them. When you stop letting people take you for granted, you're not just teaching them a lesson, you're reclaiming your power. Here's the turning point. When you start living by these principles, something incredible happens. People either rise to the occasion and start treating you with the respect you deserve, or they fade out of your life. And honestly, either outcome is a win. If they change, great. You've shown them the cost of taking you for granted, and they've learned to value you. If they don't, that's okay too, because you've shown yourself that you're worth more than being someone's backup plan. Remember, Stoicism isn't about being cold or unfeeling. It's about being strong, resilient, and true to yourself. When you stop letting people take you for granted, you're not just teaching them a lesson, you're setting yourself free. All right, let's recap. Being taken for granted sucks, but it's not the end of the story. By using Stoic principles, like focusing on what you can control, setting boundaries, and practicing detachment, you can teach others the cost of taking you for granted. It's not about revenge or playing games. It's about respecting yourself enough to demand the same respect from others. So, the next time someone takes you for granted, remember, you have the power to change the dynamic. Set your boundaries, focus on your own growth, and let your actions speak for themselves. You're worth more than being an afterthought. If this resonated with you, hit that subscribe button. Let's keep building this community of people who refuse to settle for less than they deserve. See you in the next one.